ability. You know what's funny? Most people think the TransCanada Highway just happened. Like someone woke up one morning and decided to connect an entire country with a single road. But the truth is, it almost didn't happen at all. Before 1962, you couldn't actually drive across Canada. I mean, technically you could, but you'd be crossing into the United States multiple times, bouncing along dirt roads, getting lost in the wilderness. Canada wasn't connected. And this wasn't ancient history. This was less than 70 years ago. To understand why the TransCanada Highway matters, you have to understand what Canada looked like before it existed. It's 1867. Canada has just become a country, and I'm using that word loosely. Ontario and Quebec sat in the middle. The Maritimes clung to the Atlantic coast. British Columbia was isolated on the Pacific. Between them, thousands of kilometers of wilderness. If you wanted to travel across the country, your options were bad. A ship around South America, months. Through the United States, awkward. Or straight through the wilderness, often fatal. The railway changed that. In 1885, the Canadian Pacific Railway was completed, linking Montreal to Vancouver. It was an engineering miracle. They blasted through mountains, crossed gorges, and laid track across some of the harshest terrain on Earth. Thousands died building it, many of them Chinese laborers, underpaid and given the most dangerous jobs. But railways have limits. They only go where tracks go. And as cars became popular in the early 1900s, Canadians realized something: a modern country needs roads. The problem? Roads were expensive. And Canada was poor. Provinces didn't want to pay for roads that helped other provinces. The federal government didn't want to interfere. Everyone blamed everyone else. Nothing happened. Then World War I changed everything. Canada suddenly needed to move troops and supplies quickly. Military planners began talking about a national highway, not just for war, but for peace. After the war, politicians talked. Newspapers argued. The Canadian Automobile Association lobbied. But talk was cheap. The 1920s passed. The Great Depression hit. World War II followed. Ironically, it was World War II that finally proved the idea was possible. In 1942, the Alaska Highway was built in just 8 months, through mountains and wilderness, because it had to be. And it showed that if Canada really wanted a highway, it could build one. After the war, Canada changed. The economy boomed. Car ownership exploded. People wanted to travel. In 1949, Prime Minister Louis St. Laurent made a decision: Canada would build a TransCanada Highway. The deal was simple. The federal government would pay half. The provinces would pay the rest. That same year, the TransCanada Highway Act was passed. The plan was ambitious. A road from St. John's, Newfoundland, to Victoria, British Columbia. Nearly 7,800 kilometers. That's like driving from New York to London, if you could drive on water. Each province was responsible for its own section, but the challenges were wildly different. Newfoundland had barely any roads at all. Crews blasted through solid rock, fought fog, rivers, and brutal weather. The Maritimes wrestled with hills, rivers, and limited budgets. Quebec dealt with rural isolation and political tension. Ontario faced the Canadian Shield, ancient rock, endless lakes, relentless bugs. Manitoba and Saskatchewan battled shifting clay soil, brutal winters, and snowdrifts taller than houses. Alberta and British Columbia faced the Rockies. Mountains. Avalanches. Rock slides. Weather that could turn deadly in minutes. The Fraser Canyon in BC nearly broke the project. Engineers carved the road into sheer canyon walls hundreds of feet above the river. It was slow, dangerous, and expensive. By the late 1950s, most of the highway was finished. One gap remained. British Columbia. Under pressure, BC pushed forward. And on September 3, 1962, the TransCanada Highway officially opened. For the first time in history, you could drive from coast to coast without leaving Canada. The highway wasn't perfect. Much of it was narrow. Some sections were gravel. But it worked. Families piled into cars. Truckers moved goods faster than ever. Small towns boomed, others were bypassed and faded. The highway unified the country economically and emotionally. It also left scars. Forests were cleared. Wetlands filled. Wildlife disrupted. Indigenous communities were rarely consulted. Some were displaced. Those consequences are still felt today. The TransCanada became a stage for Canadian life. In 1980, Terry Fox ran along it, one marathon every day, until cancer stopped him. Truckers built a culture on it. Families built memories on it. It's seen tragedy too. Dangerous mountain passes. Deadly winters. And the highway of tears, a painful reminder of vulnerability and injustice. Over decades, the highway evolved. Sections widened. Avalanche tunnels built. Wildlife crossings added. Even artillery is used in the mountains to trigger controlled avalanches. Today, the TransCanada is a mix of eras. Modern expressways. Narrow two-lane roads. Constant repairs. It faces new challenges now. Climate change. Extreme weather. Electric vehicles. Automation. But its purpose hasn't changed. The TransCanada Highway connects Canadians, physically and symbolically. In a country this vast, a road isn't just infrastructure. It's identity. It says that no matter how far apart we live, we belong to the same place. A ribbon of asphalt stretching across a nation, carrying people, goods, stories, and dreams, from one coast to the other. And as long as Canada exists, the TransCanada Highway will be there, winding through forests, across prairies, and over mountains, connecting us all.